Hello ministry leaders, good to be back with you on a video here today. Hey, last Sunday at the Leaders Together Huddle, I introduced a concept called the life cycle for a church or ministry. It's here on the board. We're going to talk about this in a moment. I'd like to take a moment and just share this illustration with you. If you weren't at the huddle on Sunday, this is especially for you. Hopefully you can hear it and really engage. If you were at the huddle, this will be a little bit of review, but it's really going to set things up for the videos that we're going to be building for you in the coming weeks. You know, every church or ministry, like a person, has a life cycle. And life cycle is really describe the typical arc that a ministry or church goes through. Let me kind of show you how this works. At the beginning, you have a launch phase, and a launch is where the church or a ministry begins, and it's new and it's exciting, and people are enthused about the possibilities of what God might do. And if that works, then the ministry or church will begin to move into what's called growth phase. Growth phase is a place where people begin to gather. It actually is working, and so the ministry has some enthusiasm behind it. There's momentum behind it, or a church. You know, people are starting to come together as a church, and it's very exciting. And then what begins to happen in this growth stage is that you have to begin to build systems around it. So we call that strategic growth. And this strategic growth is where we begin to recognize there's people here, so we have to organize and kind of have ways that we do things. And sometimes that creates tension, but for the most part, it's still momentum and it's still very exciting. And then finally, you get to the ultimate place of church and ministry, and that is health. And health is where you see the Great Commission of therefore going and making disciples, and the Great Commandment of loving God with all our heart, mind, soul, and strength, and loving others as ourselves. This comes together and we see God just working. We're seeing lives change and the kingdom of God advance. It's a super exciting thing. Here's the challenge though. We can't stay there. No ministry or church ever just stays there forever. Wouldn't that be great if we could? But we can't. It just doesn't happen that way. So if nothing ever changes, what will begin to happen is a church that's experiencing health will begin to slide down the other side of the bell curve, and they'll go into what's called maintenance mode. And this is a place where in maintenance mode where you know, things may still on the surface look good. You know, maybe there's still people coming and giving is still good. If you're a church or a ministry, things are still happening. But little red flags start to show up. Little red flags like burnout or discouragement, or having a hard time getting volunteers, or if you're a small group, you know, just low attendance or missing weeks, and just you're just kind of losing some of that momentum. Again, if nothing changes, then that ministry or church will begin to decline and slide down to this place. And that's where you recognize that, you know, things aren't working really well. It's a really discouraging place to be. What are we going to do? How do we change things? And sometimes it's difficult to know what to do next. But again, if nothing ever changes, the ministry or church will ultimately reach a place where it'll be done. It'll die. A church will close its doors. A ministry will be done. And so here's what a life cycle looks like. And here's one of the reasons why I shared this last Sunday. I want to share with you by video today. I think this is a helpful tool for you to assess, where is my ministry at? Where is my small group at? Maybe your small group is at a place of just great growth and enthusiasm, but maybe your small group that you're leading, you've been meeting for a long time and it kind of feels stale and people aren't really coming together. It's losing enthusiasm, it's losing momentum, and truthfully, it's really over here. Well, what do you do? Or maybe your ministry has a similar story. Or maybe us as a church, as we reflect where we're at as a church. And so this becomes a helpful assessment tool for us. Now in the next video I'm going to record for you next week, I want to talk with you about what do you do if you're on this side of the life cycle? How do you respond with that? And what are some ideas that you can put into place? I also, in the coming weeks, I'm going to take and go deep dives into each of these areas so that you better understand how this illustration works and how you can use it in your own life, your own ministry, to assess the health of the ministry that God's placed you in to lead. So very excited for the coming weeks. Thanks for all that you do. Thanks for who you are and your impact at New Hope Church. Appreciate you.